Welcome back to the channel. I'm your humble host, D-Bays, and that's Talent on Loan from Collab. We got a very special episode lined up here. I'm interviewing the Legends of Mormon podcasting, Bill Reel and Radio Free Mormon. I've been looking forward to this episode for so long, and these esteemed gentlemen have given me a bunch of their time, and I really appreciate it. This is a fascinating interview and one of a kind. I'm the only one who's interviewed both of these gentlemen at the same time. Please hit the like and subscribe, and let's go.
Welcome to the Mormon News Roundup, your go-to source for the latest headlines and critical analysis on all things LDS.
Breaking news.
Join D-Bays.
Mormon News Roundup.
That's talent on loan from Collab every Sunday and Monday night.
We will uncover the truth behind the news that matters most to the Mormon community.
Let's start with you first, Radio Free Mormon. How do you like my look here? I put on a new hat for this episode.
Yeah, you look great. You look like a cross between Don Johnson and Kwaku L tonight.
Well, you definitely made my day.
You make it cool.
And my next question is to you, Bill. I don't understand here. Your moniker says Kwaku L?
I won't have the charisma or the great sense of humor.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I mean, Kwaku has a lot of charisma.
We can no longer be friends.
And Bill, have you ever gone to one of Kwaku's infamous raves that he hosts in Utah County?
That's the hip thing that all the cool kids are doing today.
I'm sure you're going to fit right in with those young college students. And I'm just going to put this right out there. I think my look is absolutely hip and, quite frankly, a lot better than yours tonight.
You don't say.
I definitely do say. Okay, now it's time to get into some more serious subject, guys. I've got to refer to my notes here.
A fancy whiskey.
Wow, we're really starting the drinking pretty early in this interview. That's a bit of a surprise, but at least Radio Free Mormon, are you sober?
Black velvet crap that I was drinking and made me sick on the first 2 episodes of this.
Wow, that's more information than I really needed. So let's just start the interview portion with Radio Free Mormon.
Here with some cola beverage. This is
Okay, so you're drinking too?
Guy with 2 Ys.
I understand. Look, you guys really want to talk about the beer stuff. I'm really not that familiar with it.
Vodka. Vodka.
Come again?
I wanted to say a couple words about vodka, if I may.
I mean, that's not really what we came to discuss here today. I mean, I've got my agenda. We talked about this in advance, but yeah, sure, go ahead.
Ordering drinks always floored me. I didn't know whiskey from gin.
Right, you're a big fan of vodka. I got the message.
So I focused just on the vodka part.
I can see that you're not going to let this go.
I'll have a vodka.
I don't have any vodka around here.
I always have it plain.
Please, guys, can we possibly focus here?
I'd seen a vodka ad once.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them too. But that's not what we came here to talk about.
Just a glass full of vodka.
Well, it looks like you've got a whole bottle.
And the vodka looked clear and pure as water.
I mean, talk about a one-trick pony.
Drinks arrived and mine looked clear and pure.
I thought all vodka was clear.
Just like the vodka ad.
You've made that abundantly clear.
Vodka was my drink at last. It didn't taste like anything.
It didn't?
But it went straight down into my stomach.
Well, I mean, where else would it go?
And made me feel powerful and godlike.
I thought you didn't even believe in God.
I fondly refer to beer as horse piss.
Okay, we've got all that out of the way. Can we actually transition to talking about Mormonism and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
He's right, though. I mean, there comes a point where Busch Light in a bottle. I started drinking RFM when I was 12 years old.
Oh, no.
Isn't that the best description of vodka?
Please, guys, we've got to focus here.
Excuse me.
How about just a glass of water?
Like, I'll drink wine coolers.
Or how about a Mountain Dew?
I don't care for it super well.
Can we at least talk about something church-related?
Whiskey and bourbon.
What, bourbon?
It's better than the Celestial Kingdom.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even drink alcohol at all. I'm a teetotaler.
You need to endure it for like a month or 2.
I'm enduring a lot more than that in this interview.
Your brain sort of finds a way to find it tasteful.
I mean, quite frankly, I've only drank a beer once in my entire life, and it was disgusting.
Who the hell knows? You might still hate it in 3 years and regret saying this.
I probably will.
When I was a kid in Ohio.
Oh, not another Ohio story. At least, is this Mormon related?
From the age of 18 to 21, you could drink half the alcohol kind of beer.
No offense, Bill, but hard pass here. I mean, to get a little more serious, my Mormon father was an alcoholic. My eldest brother was an alcoholic for 20 years, and my older brother is currently unsheltered, and he's also an alcoholic. I'm not seeing the joke here. Look, can I talk you guys into taking a couple of calls? Because obviously we're not getting anywhere. What's the phone number to your program?
667 Mormons, 662-667-6667, or Mormons.
Come again? Look, we got to transition off the topic. Radio Free Mormon, I know that you served a mission in Japan. Let's talk about some mission stories. Anything other than beer.
I had a missionary who tried to make moonshine.
For the love of Pete!
He also tried to eat a cat.
You cannot be serious, man.
I kid you not.
That's really weird. What did he do with the cat?
How to make cat juice.
That's absolutely disgusting. I mean, I don't even know how you would do that.
You take a cat and you go, stop, and squeeze.
I'm sorry that we went down this missionary road. Let's transition to something else.
So do you know how you can tell if it's going to be a good cat or not?
Oh, please, not you too.
You said you put it in a bag and you tie it to a bunch of weights.
This is getting really dark.
You throw it in the lake, and if the cat can swim, then it's a good cat.
I can see that my interviewing technique is not getting anywhere. Let's turn the tables on you. You guys ask me something, okay? Please, let's talk about something other than killing cats and drinking booze.
How many women were burned as witches in Salem, Massachusetts?
I'm not really sure. I guess we could ask Google, but I'm more interested in why you're called Radio Free Mormon. Will you tell us your real name?
It is my name, and I cannot have another.
I guess not. None of my business. I get it. But a lot of people want to know that now that you don't really believe in God anymore, how would you characterize your religious beliefs, Radio Free Mormon?
Satanic in nature.
Wow, that's quite a surprise. Not a lot of ex-Mormons become Satanists.
I guess America is kind of satanic too, since it started with 13 colonies, which then became 13 states.
I mean, I don't know the data behind that. I guess I'll have to look that up and get back to you. It really sounds like you guys want to talk about some weird stuff out there. Look, can we just change topics? What do you want to talk about other than booze, killing cats, and worshiping the devil?
And whatever you want to talk about, whatever's on your mind, whether it's stuff going on with Mormonism in the news, if it's some doctrine you want to talk about, some story you want to share, whatever you want to do.
Yes, I agree completely. Let's change topics here. How do you feel about the Strengthening Church Members Committee? You know, a lot of members out there have reported that they have called in on Mormonism Live to the church headquarters to report you guys for your anti-Mormon activities. Bill, do you have any message to those members out there that are informing on you to the Strengthening Church Members Committee at church headquarters?
Don't be a tattletale. Don't be a narc. Snitches get stitches.
That's definitely not what I was wanting to hear. I'm going to stop trying to control you guys, and I'm just going to open up the floor to you, Radio Free Mormon. There's a lot of important issues out there that are facing the church, its members, and people who are going through a faith crisis. What's your advice to those type of people who tune into Mormon discussions on a weekly basis?
Go home, go home, go home with Bonnie Jean.
Come again?
Go home, I'll go home with Bonnie Jean.
I'm sorry, is that from Shakespeare? Ever since your podcast got banned off of Facebook, I haven't resubbed. I'm really sorry. Okay, Bill, let me ask you about Radio Free Mormon's new podcast to brush up your Shakespeare. Obviously, Shakespeare was very influential, and he was influenced by people like Chaucer and Balzac and Thomas More and Seneca and Virgil. How do you feel about how William Shakespeare still influences our society?
I don't know any of those things. So any of those people you named, those are all strangers to me.
That's disheartening, but I don't want it to ruin this episode. Now, my next question is to Radio Free Mormon. Do you actually watch the Mormon News Roundup? And how do you feel about our inspired content?
It's been a while since I've seen it. It's a wonderful, wonderful show. It's beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I was hoping that you would say. Thanks so much, pal. And my next question is to you, Bill. Do you watch the Mormon News Roundup? And if so, do you think people should donate to D-Base and our YouTube channel through our Patreon?
We'd really appreciate if you'd be donors to the program. Click the donate button and pull down the drop-down window on the donate button.
Thanks, Bill. That means the world to me. Now, Bill, how do you feel about hallucinogenic substances? Ever since you left the church, I know you've experimented with those. What would you recommend to somebody who's never tried anything like that?
And you said this was a favorite.
You've got edibles?
Yes.
Folks will notice there is one missing.
Bill, you've got edibles? We talked about this, buddy. You weren't supposed to take any of these during the interview.
I did not eat any.
Then who did? Wait, you're telling me that somebody ate one of your edibles without your permission? Who was it?
My daughter asked about it. I explained the whole background to her. She had a piece, and I told her not to tell me what she thought of it.
Look, this is awfully personal. It's none of my business. I don't know how old your daughter is. I don't even know if edibles are legal in the state of Utah. Look, can we get back on the topic here?
Did you have to rush her to the ER?
Yeah, I mean, edibles are dangerous, especially for children. Bill, come on. RFM, can you please talk some sense into him?
This is Bill Reel taking his first taste.
Thanks for nothing. Look, we've got to get back on track here. We've got to talk about Mormon-related stuff here. Time is wasting. We've got a short episode here. let me just ask you this here. Do human beings actually possess free will? I mean, the debate over determinism versus free choice is central to metaphysical inquiry.
I think you really have the potential to have a great conversation if I just knew half the stuff you were talking about.
Fine, let me give you a softball, something right down the middle here. I've seen your dog on your live stream a few times, Bill. What's your strategy for taking care of your furry pet?
First off, you don't feed them after midnight. You don't pour water on them, and you don't expose them to sunlight.
Okay, that sounds strangely familiar. Where have I heard that before? But I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Bill, but I run the Mormon Movie Reviews channel, which premieres new episodes every Monday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we go back through the church archives and review some of the old classics that the church produced and church-affiliated films. What are your favorite Mormon movies?
People dying, and they showed like a little bit more of the extreme.
I'm not really familiar with that genre. I guess I just need to brush up a little bit on my Mormon movies. But let's try to transition here back to Mormon discussions. I understand that you've lost a few donors recently. Who's to blame for that?
I take full blame, at least 80-20. I'll take 80% of the blame.
Oh, that seems fair. Bill, we talked about this. You weren't going to take edibles before the show, and you certainly are not going to take any edibles during the show. Please, Bill, come on. Bill, look, I know you're the guest and I'm just the host. I know I'm just a C-list podcaster, but please, no more edibles during the show. But seriously, how do they taste? I've never really had an edible.
I could see why I would want one every once in a while, but I wouldn't want more than one.
I'm sorry I asked.
It was good, but too rich. And so I would want one every once in a while, but I wouldn't want to eat 3 or 4 of those.
But how much of that stuff do you have in your house anyway? I understand that if you have a lot of it, it could be a felony.
I think I do have a good 3-year supply here, probably.
I'm not really sure you're supposed to be talking about that on YouTube. Like I said, Bill, this is kind of a serious subject for me. Drug addiction really tore my Mormon family apart and led to a lot of heartache. A lot of people consider this stuff to literally be poison.
Poison's in front of me, but I'm Sicilian, so I know the poison's in front of you. And
Okay, look, I'm sorry I brought it up. Fine, you do you.
Fizzle on my schnizzle, Snoop Dogg.
Look, RFM, do you condone using poisonous drugs on a live stream?
The pellet with the poisons and the vessel with the pestle.
RFM, can you confirm what Bill Reel is eating on this live stream? I mean, it really looks like edibles here.
I don't want to know what that is because I don't want to take the risk. The same thing will happen to me.
That seems like a wise course of action. Now, I can't help but observe the fact that on the Mormon Discussions platform that you've lost a lot of your podcasts. Ada from Dissonant Daughters, Renee, Backyard Professor. Those were really friends in the ex-Mormon community. RFM, how do you feel about those people leaving Mormon Discussions?
Boy, talk about people you thought were friends.
Ouch. I mean, is there something about you and Bill, RFM, that is kind of driving people off of Mormon Discussions?
What I've come to describe it as is being radioactive.
Well, I appreciate your honesty and transparency. But seriously, why do you think that Mormon Discussions is really losing so many subscribers?
I don't know. It's a really good question.
Do you think it has anything to do with you specifically? I mean, your personality?
Some people who really had a problem with me. I know there were some people who really had a problem with me.
Now we're getting somewhere. And what about you, Bill? How would you characterize the fact that you're losing so many subscribers on YouTube? Who would you point the finger at?
And they would have said, like, that guy, Bill Reel, that's that guy right there.
Makes sense. Do you think it's maybe time to start buckling down on the content that you guys are creating rather than doing edibles and taking shots on the air? Is it time to take this just a little more seriously?
I don't take it that seriously.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Look, this is a question for either one of you. Is there any message that you want to send to your Mormon Discussion subscribers, especially about the people who are donating to your channel?
Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
Wow, we are really going on a dark turn here, but I really appreciate both of y'all's honesty. And Bill, do you agree with RFM?
Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
Boy, you guys are really in lockstep. Well, then let me ask you this. Have either one of you read Matt Harris's new book, Second Class Saints, in which he details the Mormon Church's Temple and Grace priesthood ban that lasted until 1978?
Sounded a very boring book, actually, when I read it a number of years ago.
Look, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree because I think the book is fantastic. And while we're on the race and the priesthood ban, why do you think that the Mormon Church didn't allow Black members to enter the temple or participate in the eternal rituals, including the priesthood, until 1978?
A person is not ready until they're ready, and there's nothing you can do to make them ready.
Time out. We got to change the subject here. This is not what I wanted to hear. Will you retract what you just said? I think it would be a good idea.
Nope, not a chance.
Fine.
You're not really happy.
And why not?
Unless you're a miserable Mormon like me.
I'm not following.
You may look happy, but no, you're not really happy, because you can't be really happy unless you are Mormon happy.
Okay, Bill, do you agree with that you need to be Mormon happy? I mean, should people stay in the church?
And it just feels like a better way to do things.
Very interesting stuff. But guys, can we get back to the agenda here?
If I can tell you something, it's just a little bit personal, though I won't go on and on, I promise.
Sure, I can't stop you. Let me guess, this is about your affiliation with Mormon Stories?
I became persona non grata.
Yeah, I've heard that through the grapevine. But to be honest with you, I was hoping you were going to talk about all those great things that I've done for you and your family over the years.
You have done much for our family over the years.
Thanks for bringing that up.
God bless you, my friend.
That means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. You know, I've asked you guys some tough questions here. Bill, how would you describe me personally? No holds bar. You won't offend me.
And a super cool guy, man. Just such a good human being.
That's much obliged, Bishop Reel.
Yeah, just salt of the earth kind of guy.
I owe you one. Bill, do you remember all those times that we hung out together at the family pawn shop in Hurricane, Utah? How would you characterize that time together that we spent?
You know, sometimes your life is better when you run into people and they're now a part of your life when they weren't before.
Yeah, those were good memories. But Bill, I've got to revisit an issue that we talked about earlier. You know, at one point in time, the Mormon Discussions platform had like 13 different podcasts, and it's been whittled down to just a couple now. You know, how do you feel about the exit of so much content off of your channel?
Yep. People, they have their exits and their entrances.
I mean, that sounds really nihilistic, don't you think?
Life is always changing and nobody is forever. Somebody's going to take their last breath and the other person's going to be left alone.
I mean, that's kind of cold-hearted.
With that little bit of sadness, let's go to the next phone call.
Okay.
Maybe that's for the best. My next question is for you, Bishop Reel. You know, you had the Almost Awakened podcast, and I think you had like 200 episodes of that, in which you interviewed a lot of different spiritual gurus and mystics and things like that. And what I really want to know is, how would you describe your current approach to spirituality? You know, could you do it in like 4 words?
Witches and satanic priesthood.
Ah, you and RFM. Boy, that's a real surprise. And RFM, are you also into witches and satanic priesthoods?
My girlfriend, Wendy, has an adult daughter named Rhea who is into witchcraft, okay?
I had no idea that you guys were into this stuff. And do you participate with your girlfriend, Wendy, in these occult practices?
Doing her voodoo stuff.
Whoa, voodoo, Satanism, and witchcraft? Man, you guys are way out there. I mean, a lot of people think that voodoo is really far out there. I mean, I'm not that familiar with it. What's it like?
Voodoo shit. Voodoo shit. Keep it up.
And Bill, do you get into the voodoo stuff too?
Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. And those who have eyes to see, let them see. And for everyone else, it just feels like it passes right by.
Boy, this interview is revealing more than I thought.
That's right. Absolutely. Ruh-roh, Raggy.
As far as fundraising is concerned, Bill, what's your approach to getting new donors to the Mormon Discussions umbrella?
You know, you go knocking on doors. You convince people through manipulation to buy a product that is severely overpriced. But
wow. And how much are you asking people to donate per episode?
$4,700.
Wow, good luck with that. You guys look a little hammered. Is there any way that you can show me that you're actually sober at this moment? That's not helping. I mean, do you want people to get faced when they're watching your programming?
And if they're, if they're drinking with us, they've got a little buzz at the end too. So
makes sense. You know, I bet there's some people out there that'll be looking over this interview as a highlight and maybe even cutting up some clips.
Cardinellis is probably scouring these for clips he can use against us, but what the hell?
Look, I'm going to put this out there right now. Anybody who cuts up clips from a program and uses them out of context is morally reprehensible.
I'm just drinking root beer, folks.
Root beer? Okay, fine.
Don't assume anything. Assumptions will always get you in trouble.
Can we take a break on the Booze Fest and get back to the interview here, folks? Bill, as far as your own personal role models, people that you look up to in the spiritual realm, what are some names that come to mind?
Cardin Ellis and Kwaku.
I can't tell if you're being serious. Did you say Kwaku and Cardin Ellis?
Kwaku and Cardin Ellis.
Wow, I always thought you had a big axe to grind with them. It's nice to see that you buried the hatchet.
Excuse me.
That won't see the light of day.
You can't get me back.
Don't worry, we'll cut that out post-production.
Excuse me.
Let me ask you this, RFM. What are some of those YouTube channels out there that are doing better than Mormon Discussions? People with more subscribers, more donations, making a bigger impact.
Rebecca Biblioteca, Landon Brophy, Jim Bennett, Nemo the Mormon, Anthony Miller.
I definitely agree with you. And as far as researching for Mormonism Live, Bill, who do you think of when you're doing your research? Who do you take inspiration from?
Kwaku and Cardin Ellis.
Man, those guys live rent-free in your mind, don't they? Seriously, can we talk about something other than Ward Radio?
Right.
He's Glenn based. John Glenn. And
for those ex-Mormons out there who don't have much experience drinking alcohol, Bill, would you describe yourself as an angry drunk or a funny drunk?
Fucking moon landing. One big step for mankind.
Now, let me reference my interview notes again.
Dun 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 dun.
Come again?
Dun 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 dun.
Wait a minute, what?
Dun 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 dun.
Let me see if I got this straight. Dun 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 dun.
Dun 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 dun. Dun dun.
Wait a minute, let me see if I got this. Dun 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 dun.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
That's very impressive, Bill, but we need to get off the music stuff and cover some more serious topics. Radio Free Mormon.
My sweet Lord. Ooh, doo, doo, doo.
Guys, please.
He's so fine. Wish he were mine.
Gentlemen, we need to focus.
That handsome boy over there, the one with the wavy hair.
Okay, Bill, we've got suicidality in the LDS Church. We've got gay issues. We got a lot of harmful stuff out there. Let's get this podcast into a more serious vein.
We're too busy singing to let anybody down.
Well, I guess if you can't beat him, you gotta join him. Do you guys do any duets together, musically?
Ooh, ee, bing, bang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
I'm sorry I asked.
We're just grooving out to the mellow tunes.
Look, time is getting short on this interview. We've got important Mormon concepts to cover.
We've only got about 15 minutes left of this show, and it's probably a good thing.
I'm beginning to agree with you. Honestly, brethren, I am feeling a little bit freaked out about this episode because you guys have said some weird stuff here.
The handlers watch and then cut our clips out of context, and then they talk about it ignorantly as if that's the full clip and they understand the full substance of what was being said.
Yeah, and I pray daily and twice on the Sabbath that won't happen to this episode here tonight. But how do you research for your Mormonism Live episodes? Do you actually do the research, or do you just kind of cut and paste anti-Mormon tropes?
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Research is not the answer.
I'm beginning to understand that. And fellas, if we can kind of take this to a more serious tone here, in a recent episode of your program, Radio Free Mormon talked about affinity fraud and Bruce R. McConkie, the Mormon apostle who died in 1985. He and his business partners definitely used their LDS affiliations and prestige to target elderly investors out of large amounts of money. I mean, what kind of a serious message do you think that sends to current believing Latter-day Saints?
Selling people memorials after they die and taking all the money in the company not registering as a legitimate company.
Yeah. Yep. They moved the headstones, but they left the bodies. That's Bill's attempt at humor.
Moving right along. Let me get your thoughts on some current LDS leadership. Dallin H. Oaks, how would you describe him?
Yeah, he was a total dick.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, Henry V. Eyring.
Dick.
Yeah.
Got it.
How did Dick know?
Switching topics, though, a lot of post-Mormons and ex-Mormons don't really believe in the entire concept of sin. Do you still believe in sin, and what do you think is one of the biggest sins out there?
Masturbate.
Wow.
Bye-bye, Billy.
Look, RFM, we got to deal with the elephant in the room. A lot of time on the Mormon newscast, you've made fun of the Mormon News Roundup. Do you have anything to say to me personally about that?
I make a lot of fun of you, and it's because I find it irresistible.
I understand that. I guess I'll just try to look at it as a compliment. Bill, are you doing another edible? Come on, Bill, please. And RFM, do you remember all of those lunches that we had together in Mount Vernon, Washington?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, you don't remember all of those times that I took you out for lunch? I think you can refresh your memory. I thought we really bonded over those Caesar salads.
It was a heck of a time, and you were right in the center of it, weren't you?
Absolutely, I was.
And I don't believe any of it, but any of it could be. It's all possible.
Well, RFM just confirmed that to you.
I'm a skeptic. I don't believe any of that stuff, you know?
We have mounds of evidence of our eternal and close bond.
I don't know how to explain stuff like that.
Not surprising. I know it might sound crazy to you, but can you at least open your mind to the possibility that RFM and I are eternal bosom friends?
In a universe this big and this much stuff and people and life forms going on, some crazy stuff happens.
It certainly does. Kind of like this interview. And how would you characterize Mormonism Live? I mean, some of your episodes are like 4 or 5 hours long.
Blah, 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 blah. Right. Man, that got boring fast.
I don't disagree with you. But RFM, almost everyone loves your mission stories. And I know you served in Japan. Do you still speak Japanese? I'd love to hear you speak in the language.
Also spracht Zarathustra. Spracht.
Wow, I need to brush up on my Japanese. Well, we're wrapping things up here. Is there any message that you want to send to the Mormon News Roundup viewers out there right now?
I have had a wonderful time, and thank you so much for joining us.
And there you have it, folks. The long-anticipated interview with Bill Reel and Radio Free Mormon. I think we learned a lot about their mindset and about the scholarly approach that they bring to the Mormon Discussions channel. Thanks so much for joining me on this insightful journey into the minds of Mormon podcasting legends, Bill Reel and Radio Free Mormon. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Mormon News Roundup and the Mormon movie reviews and Real Talk Mormonism right here on this channel. Always think celestial, and remember, no one hallowed hand can stop this podcast from progressing.
When it comes to nicknames of the church, such as LDS Church, the Mormon Church, to remove the Lord's name from the Lord's church is a major victory for Satan.
Satan.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't say.
Excuse me.
And and so I
Bye, Billy.
Hey, give me blah, blah, blah. Right. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Terrible.
I don't know what I'm going to do with that. That's absurd, man. It's freaking...
Terrible.